I'm going to keep this intro short because the title says it all, but every so often it's nice to hear success stories from people who've been in similar situations as us, and through doing all of the things that we are now currently doing, have found themselves in realities where their dreams have come true. I'm going to be sharing with you some success stories on various topics, from romance to prosperity to random desires and wishes. These success stories range from the 20th century all the way up to the modern day. And I know you may use my voice to fall asleep too. In this video, feel absolutely free to do so, because as you sleep, your subconscious mind is awake and is taking in information that you are consciously unaware of. As a matter of fact, some of my greatest successes has come about from me training my subconscious mind as I slept. So let's not sleep on that little, I don't want to call it a hack, but I don't know, piece of information. Anyways, and with that, let's go ahead and begin with story 1. The simplest thing to start with is to consider what actions you would be taking if you were the person who already had the thing or things that you want. That version of you is different than who you are right now. Otherwise, you would already have what you want by doing more of the things you would be doing if you were already there. You close the gap and bring the there into the now. And you want to hit this from every angle possible. Not because you have to do or implement every action you come up with, but because you want to have a complete look at who you would be as that version of you. Here are some things to start with. If you were already that person who has the thing or things that you want, what habits would you have in place? What would your day-to-day life be like? How would you be spending your time every day? How would you be showing up in your life, in your relationships, in your business and or career, in your health and fitness? What would you be eating? What would you be wearing? What decisions or choices would you be making that you're not making right now? Once you're clear on the stuff I just listed, you can begin to implement some of it in your life right now, as if you're already that person. For example, one of the areas I was working on quantum leaping in was my body. I had desired a certain body type for a long time, and I was close to having it, but I wasn't putting in the work to fully claim it for myself. So I decided to act as if my way into having that body, starting with my clothing. I recently did a major closet clean out and reorganization. I was feeling stuck in the area of clothing and sick of everything in my closet. I knew the quantum leaped version of me wouldn't be wearing most of what was in there. The old me hid her body and wore baggy, oversized t-shirts and sweatpants. But the me who had made a quantum leap in her physical body and health would dress differently. I would be wearing a lot of crop tops, which are one of my favorite things because I'd be happy with and proud of the body I created for myself. I would wear fitted clothing. I would mostly wear jeans. I would have a refined, classic style that I could easily mix trendy pieces into. I had recently learned about the idea of creating a classic capsule from a company called Glow Fashion. The concept is so simple and yet brilliant. You build your entire closet around 12 classic wardrobe staples that never go out of style. Things like jeans, a white button-up blouse, neutral t-shirts, a blazer, black pants, a motorcycle jacket, etc. When I heard about this concept, I knew right away that next level me would have a wardrobe like this. So I decided to totally revamp my closet around this concept. I first went through and pulled out all the capsule pieces I already owned and put them into their own section of the closet. Then I tried on everything else in my closet to see what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to get rid of. I ended up with 3 bags of full clothes that I no longer wanted. That did not feel like next level me. I kept only the capsule items, plus the personality pieces. Basically, anything else in your wardrobe that's not part of the capsule that felt like next level me. Now getting dressed every day is so easy, and I love everything in my closet. Doing this closet clean out and reorganization was me acting as if I was already the version of me who made a quantum leap in my physical body and health. My old closet represented who I was. My new closet represents who I desire to be. I closed the gap between the old me and the new me by changing what I was wearing, and now when I put these clothes on, I feel like a different version of myself. I feel more mature and refined and stylish, just like I know my quantum leaped self would feel. I didn't wait until I became that version of myself to clean out my closet and create my capsule wardrobe. I did it now, knowing full well where I'm headed and who I'm choosing to be. The mistake many people make is choosing to wait. They wait for the thing they want to show up. They wait for the new job, the new relationship, the money, the whatever, before they make any changes to their lives and their actions. And this is actually what keeps them waiting, because they're not taking any action. They're not putting in any skin in the game, which just means being willing to risk something in pursuit of becoming who they want to be and having what they want to have. Yes, it might seem risky to get rid of so much stuff in my closet and build a closet around becoming another version of myself. What if it doesn't happen? What if I never become that person? What if I never have that body? Then I won't have any of the clothes I used to wear. But the truth is, it has to happen when you take action like it's already done. It might take some time, but if you just keep taking action and acting as if you're already there, you will be there before you know it. One of the biggest reasons I held off for so long on cleaning up my closet and creating the capsule wardrobe and wearing what I wanted to be wearing was because I didn't yet have the body I wanted. I kept telling myself I would revamp my closet and wear what I wanted to when I had my desired physical body. But doing that was keeping it away from me. It was keeping me from doing anything about having that body. Allowing myself to hide in sweatpants and baggy tees kept me not exercising consistently or doing what it took to have the physical body I desired. But once I removed all that stuff and only had a closet full of clothes I'd be wearing if I already had that body, it forced me to take action on actually creating it for myself. Today, I have a consistent habit of exercising 5 to 6 days a week. I'm eating healthier than ever before. I feel more comfortable in my own skin. I'm happily able to dress how I want to, and I have the physical body I've always desired. My dream physical body was created by acting as if I already had it before I actually did. In my opinion, celebrating is severely underrated, and that's sad. Because not only is it fun to celebrate things, but it's also an easy way to create a quantum leap in your life. Back in 2014, when I wanted to have my best month in business, I used celebration to make it happen. I didn't set any specifics around what my best month meant. I just knew I wanted to make the most money I'd made up until that point and enjoy everything I was doing. My favorite restaurant at the time was the Melting Pot, but I rarely ate there because it was pricey. So I decided that's where I wanted to have dinner to celebrate my best month in business ever, and I wanted to bring my then husband and my mom to dinner with me. I called the restaurant and made a reservation for a date that was a month away, and then I got to work, visualizing it as if it was already done. Every day for 4 minutes, I set a timer. I would visualize myself having that celebratory dinner. I imagined myself choosing a dress from my closet, putting it on, walking out the door of my apartment, driving to the restaurant, walking up to the hostess and giving my name, walking over to our table, sitting down, ordering food, and toasting my mom and then husband with a glass of champagne. I imagined this in specific detail every single day that month. Most mornings when my timer went off, I had happy tears pouring down my face because my visualization felt so real to me, as if I really had just experienced that celebratory dinner. As the month went along, things started to happen. I got an idea to launch a story planning workshop. At the time, I was doing book editing and story coaching, and I immediately had a bunch of signups. I got an unexpected book editing client who also wanted to pay me to help her self-publish her book. In total, I made $8,500 cash, which was my highest income month at that point. And then right before the month ended, I was gifted a free $1,500 coaching program from a coach I knew online. I added that into the total for the month and I realized I had my first 10K month. By visualizing the celebration for my best month in business every single day, and in such detail that it created an emotional charge for me, it literally forced the how to show up. Whatever needed to happen to get me to that celebratory dinner happened. And at the end of the month, when I actually went to the melting pot and had my dinner with my mom and then husband, it was everything I imagined and more. I used pre-planned celebrations to quantum leap myself many times in many different areas of my life and business ever since. It's such a fun and underutilized way to manifest things. I highly recommend giving it a try. It's a great way to act as if you've already achieved, received, and quantum leaped to the outcome that you desire. According to Feng Shui principles, by enhancing the flow of qi in this area, you open yourself to receive help or guidance from unexpected sources. A friend of mine, Gigi, certainly found this to be true. Feeling a strong desire to meet her soulmate, Gigi did everything in her power to meet him. She said prayers, went to places where singles congregate, and started stopping with friends to have drinks after work, all to no avail. Around this same time, Gigi's friend Patricia had been studying Feng Shui and asked if she could practice her newfound skills by doing a consultation on Gigi's house. Gigi was skeptical at first, but figured, why not? As Patricia went through Gigi's home, room by room, she discovered many areas that could be enhanced in order to improve her love life. For example, the marriage and relationship corner of Gigi's home contained many plants. Patricia suggested that Gigi put a few of them in red pots. Red is an attractive color and also the color of love. Say a prayer 3 times as she placed the potted plants back in the room and envision what she wanted in the area of her love life. Gigi felt a little silly but did it anyway, envisioning herself in a wedding gown, kissing her new groom. Patricia also noticed that the helpful people and travel section of Gigi's home was barren and poorly lit. Patricia explained that helpful people aren't just those who give you money, but people who help you in any way with a word of wisdom, an introduction to someone special, whatever. Since so many soulmates find one another thanks to an introduction by a friend, family member, or coworker, or other such helpful person, Patricia emphasized the importance of cultivating this area of Gigi's home and recommended that she place something black in that area and improve the lighting. The next day, Gigi went out and bought a black halogen torchère. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but whatever. Assembled it that very night and placed it in the helpful people and travel area. She said a prayer 3 times and visualized help flowing to her from all directions. Mind you, that was on a Friday. Saturday evening, Gigi's phone rang. It was a coworker whom she liked a lot, but had never really socialized with beyond walking together at lunchtime or meeting at the company gatherings. The coworker had called to tell Gigi that her husband's best friend, Rick, had recently gotten divorced and was interested in meeting someone new. Gigi's coworker explained that she and her husband had been going through their list of available women they knew when suddenly, like a bolt of halogen lightning, Gigi's name popped into their head. They went out as a foursome the following weekend, and Rick and Gigi have been dating ever since. In Feng Shui, Your bedroom is a place that promotes a harmonious flow of nourishing and sensual energy. Ideally, it should be inviting and soothing, exciting and calming at the same time. Here are a few tips that most experts agree will help you transform your bedroom into a pleasurable and restful place to be. Bedrooms should ideally be located in the back of the house in order to provide their inhabitants with a sense of security, privacy, and comfort. Avoid hanging pictures of children or family in a master bedroom, as no one wants to have family members symbolically watching what's going on in the privacy of this space. If possible, don't use your bedroom for an office. Remove all reminders of work, including desks, bookshelves, computers, exercise equipment, and so forth. Remember, your bedroom is a sacred place for sleeping, relaxing, romance, and lovemaking. The fewer distractions, the better. It's not a good idea to keep a television in the bedroom. If you must have a television, put it in a cabinet or cover it with a cloth so you can symbolically make it disappear when it's not in use. Choose the images and artwork you display in your bedroom wisely and favor images of things you want to experience more of in your life. In other words, unless you enjoy being sad and lonely, do not feature sad and lonely images in your bedroom. Avoid placing mirrors in the bedroom. According to Feng Shui, they are great for the living room but may keep you awake and wired when used in your bedroom. Keep the space under your bed completely free of items. Find alternate storage solutions for winter clothes and extra blankets so you can keep the space around your bed open to receive new vital energy. Open the windows often to keep the air in your bedroom fresh and full of oxygen. If at all possible, make sure your bed is not placed under a window and ensure that your bed is not against a bathroom wall, as those can be inauspicious locations. Reflect for a moment on the list of qualities and attributes that you are looking for in a lover. Then ask yourself if who you are on an emotional level is a good match for the person you described. If the walls around your heart are 10 feet thick, you may be unconsciously keeping love at arm's length. A heart that is burdened with old hurts, disappointments, and resentments is simply not open enough to allow love to enter. In fact, your unprocessed or unhealed emotional wounds may be sending the universe a mixed message. One part of you is a giant yes to being in an intimate relationship, while your wounded heart is unconsciously saying, no, I am afraid of being hurt again. Your job now is to uncover the wounds and begin the healing process so that you can send a clear signal that you are ready for love. At the heart of this process is forgiveness. My experience with men was abrupt and loveless from the beginning. I lost my virginity in a drunken excursion with a relative stranger on my 18th birthday. A year later, I found myself at a bar, drunk again. This time accepting a ride home from a group of men I only vaguely knew. What later ensued would color my choices for years as I experienced the degradation and demoralization of gang rape. The aftermath was devastating, and the men I attracted from that point forward were perfect mirrors of my rage against men and my self-hatred. I found myself in relationship after relationship with angry, rageful, misogynistic men with some combination of sex addiction, drug addiction, alcoholism, and issues with gambling. None of these men treated me with respect because I didn't respect myself. None of them were available to me emotionally because I was unavailable to myself. None of them were faithful because I was always betraying myself. All of them were caught in the same trap of dishonesty and denial as I was. At 27, I went into recovery for my addiction to alcohol. I came to believe in a higher power. I began to study metaphysics and read book after book about what is now understood as the law of attraction. Wallace Wattles, Catherine Ponder, Ernest Holmes, Alice Bailey, Norman Vincent Peale, James Allen, Shakti Gawain became my bedside table best friends. I began to use creative visualization, affirmations, and vision boards with artistic collages to help me envision and manifest a loving partner. I created a dream board, cutting out photographs and images from magazines depicting a dark-haired, handsome man. I even went as far as cutting out a picture of a wedding dress. I meditated every day on the physical aspect of this man and the wedding dress and the act of getting married, and yet, deep inside, I still hadn't forgiven myself or the men who raped me, so it really came as no surprise that the partner I attracted mirrored the lack of love and self-regard I felt toward myself. I met my first husband on a blind date. He was the splitting image of the handsome man with dark hair on my vision board. He asked me to marry him a short while later. It was a perfect relationship for the space I was in at that time, both energetically and emotionally. We were mutually disrespectful in our language and unavailable to each other, and when all was said and done, both of us were disappointed and disillusioned. As it turned out, this was the best thing that could have happened to me. The light finally went on. I hit bottom emotionally and finally had to surrender to the fact that I was still full of repressed rage about the rape, that I still considered myself a victim, that I was retaliatory, distrustful, and emotionally unavailable, not only to men but also to myself. That was the beginning of my true healing. I committed to a year of celibacy and introspection in order to unhook myself from the pain of my past, which kept playing out in my present. I learned to forgive, to release resentments, and to see my role in my life's dramas. Eventually, I recovered a sense of hope. Humility quietly took the place of the anger and fear I had harbored for so long. I became the love I had been looking for. I finally forgave myself. At the young age of 34, I was ready to allow God's will to guide my intimate relationships. I prayed daily for God to decide who my life partner should be, if I was to have one at all. I woke up one morning feeling hopeful again. Throughout this time, I had been coaching a number of my clients on how to manifest their life partners using the internet as a meditation tool. I guess it's true that you teach what you most need to learn. My clients were achieving wonderful results, and I thought I should try it myself. I went online the next day to a dating site, and lo and behold, an ad popped up by the most beautiful looking man. I didn't even read his ad. All I had to do was look in his eyes, and my intuitive radar went ping. I contacted him. He called me back, and the minute I heard his voice, I knew he was the one. There was no anxiety, just a calm, welcoming, friendly feeling that was nothing like the romantic yearning I had felt in every other relationship I'd had. We both figured out fairly quickly that we were meant to be together. Since the day we met, we've not been apart. Because I was emotionally healed and whole, my relationship with my soulmate was built on a sturdy foundation. I made an important commitment right from the start that I would never use a disrespectful word or act in a disrespectful manner toward him. We had both had our share of difficult relationships in the past and knew what we didn't want to repeat. Experience told us both, if you do what you always did, you're gonna get what you always got. Of course, we decided to honor our commitment with vows of the spirit and a legal marriage. When we married, we agreed divorce would never be an option. We always resolve our differences before bed, put each other first, and fully support the other's spiritual and personal growth. There's no manipulation, no struggle for power, and we always stand close together, but not so close as to cast a shadow over the other. We're a team. We're best friends. We call each other on our stuff out of love for each other. We laugh together about goofy things. We know we aren't perfect, but we're perfect for each other. I never would have been able to attract a healthy relationship if I hadn't found forgiveness for myself and for all those I felt had betrayed me. Let me give you 2 personal stories. When I was a boy, I lived in a very limited environment in a little island called Barbados. Feed for the animals was very, very scarce and very expensive because we had to import it. I am one of a family of 10 children, and my grandmother lived with us, making 13 at the table. Time and time again, I can remember my mother saying to the cook in the early part of the week, "I want you to put away 3 ducks for Sunday's dinner." This meant that she would take from the flock in the yard 3 ducks and coop them up in a very small cage and feed them, stuff them morning, noon, and night with corn and all the things she wanted the ducks to feast upon. This was an entirely different diet from what we regularly fed the ducks, because we kept those birds alive by feeding them fish. We kept them alive and fat on fish because fish were very cheap and plentiful, but you could not eat a bird that fed upon fish, not as you and I like a bird. The cook would take 3 ducks, put them in a cage, and for 7 days stuff them with corn, sour milk, and all the things we wanted to taste in the birds. Then when they were killed and served for dinner 7 days later, they were luscious, milk-fed, corn-fed birds. But occasionally, the cook forgot to put away the birds, and my father, knowing we were having ducks and believing that she had carried out the command, did not send anything else for dinner, and 3 fish came to the table. You could not touch those birds, for they were so much the embodiment of what they fed upon. Man is a psychological being, a thinker. It is not what he feeds upon physically, but what he feeds upon mentally that he becomes. We become the embodiment of that which we mentally feed upon. Now, those ducks could not be fed corn in the morning and fish in the afternoon and something else at night. It had to be a complete change of diet. In our case, we cannot have a little bit of meditation in the morning, curse at noon, and do something else in the evening. We have to go on a mental diet for a week. We must completely change our mental food. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If I could now single out the kind of mental food I want to express within my world and feast upon it, I would become it. Let me tell you why I am doing what I am doing today. It was back in 1933 in the city of New York, and my old friend Abdullah, with whom I studied Hebrew for 5 years, was really the beginning of the eating of all my superstitions. When I went to him, I was filled with superstitions. I could not eat meat, I could not eat fish, I could not eat chicken, I could not eat any of these things that were living in the world. I did not drink, I did not smoke, and I was making a tremendous effort to live a celibate life. Abdullah said to me, "I am not going to tell you, you are crazy, Neville, but you are, you know. All these things are stupid," but I could not believe they were stupid. In November 1933, I bade goodbye to my parents in the city of New York as they sailed for Barbados. I had been in this country 12 years with no desire to see Barbados. I was not successful, and I was ashamed to go home to successful members of my family. After 12 years in America, I was a failure in my own eyes. I was in the theater and made money 1 year and spent it the next month. I was not what I would call by their standards, nor by mine, a successful person. Mind you, when I said goodbye to my parents in November, I had no desire to go to Barbados. The ship pulled out, and as I came up the street, something possessed me with a desire to go to Barbados. It was the year of 1933. I was unemployed and had no place to go except a little room on the 75th Street. I went straight to my old friend Abdullah and said to him, "Ab, the strangest feeling is possessing me. For the first time in 12 years, I want to go to the Barbados." "If you want to go, Neville, you have gone," he replied. That was very strange language to me. I am in New York City, on the 72nd Street, and he tells me I have gone to Barbados. I said to him, "What do you mean I have gone, Abdullah?" He said, "Do you really want to go?" I answered, "Yes." He then said to me, "As you walk through this door now, you are not walking on the 72nd Street. You are walking on palm-lined streets, coconut-lined streets. This is Barbados. Do not ask me how you are going to go. You are in Barbados. You do not say how when you are there. You are there. Now you walk as though you were there." I went out of his place in a daze. I am in Barbados. I have no money. I have no job. I am not even well clothed, and yet I am in Barbados. He was not the kind of man with whom you would argue, not Abdullah. 2 weeks later, I was no nearer my goal than on the other day I first told him I wanted to go to the Barbados. I said to him, Ab, I trust you implicitly, but here is one time I cannot see how it is going to work. I have not one penny towards my journey, I began to explain. You know what he did? He was as black as the ace of spades, my old friend Abdullah, with his turbaned head. As I sat in his living room, he rose from his chair and went towards his study and slammed the door, which was not an invitation to follow him. As he went through the door, he said to me, I have said all that I have to say. On the 3rd of December, I stood before Abdullah and told him again, I was no nearer my trip. He repeated his statement, you are in Barbados. The very last ship sailing for Barbados that would take me there for the reason I wanted to go, which was to be there for Christmas, sailed at noon on December 6th, and the old Nerissa. On the morning of December 4th, having no job, having no place to go, I slept late. When I got up, there was an airmail letter from Barbados under my door. As I opened the letter, a little piece of paper flickered to the floor. I picked it up, and it was a draft for $50. The letter was from my brother Victor, and it read, I am not asking you to come, Neville. This is a command. We have never had a Christmas when all the members of our family were present at the same time. This Christmas, it could be done if you would come. My oldest brother Cecil left home before the youngest was born, and then we started to move away from home at different times, so never in the history of our family were we ever all together at the same time. The letter continued. You are not working. I know there is no reason why you cannot come, so you must be here before Christmas. The enclosed $50 is to buy a few shirts or a pair of shoes you may need for the trip. You will not need tips. Use the bar if you are drinking. I will meet the ship and pay all your tips and your incurred expenses. I have cabled Furnace Whitty & Co. in New York City and told them to issue you a ticket when you appear at their office. The $50 is simply to buy some little essentials you may sign as you want to board the ship. I will meet it and take care of all obligations. I went down to Furnace Whitty & Co. with my letter and let them read it. They said, we received the cable, Mr. Goddard, but unfortunately we have not any space left on the December 6th sailing. The only thing available is third class between New York and St. Thomas. When we get to St. Thomas, we have a few passengers who are getting off. You may then ride first class from St. Thomas to Barbados. But between New York and St. Thomas, you must go third class, although you may have the privileges of the first class dining room and walk the decks of the first class. I said, I will take it. I went back to my old friend Abdullah on the afternoon of December 4th and said, it worked like a dream. I told him what I had done, thinking he would be happy. Do you know what he said to me? He said, who told you that you were going third class? Did I see you in Barbados? The man, you are going third class? You are in Barbados and you went there first class. I did not have one moment to see him again before I sailed on the noon of December 6th. When I reached the dock with my passport and my papers to get aboard that ship, the agent said to me, we have good news for you, Mr. Goddard. There has been a cancellation and you are going first class. Abdullah taught me the importance of remaining faithful to an idea and not compromising. I wavered, but he remained faithful to the assumption that I was in Barbados and had traveled first class. Obedience precedes authority, and the law obeys man when he obeys the law. The law of electricity must be obeyed before it becomes man's servant. When handled ignorantly, it becomes man's deadly foe. So with the laws of mind. Example: A woman with a strong personal will wished she owned a house which belonged to an acquaintance, and she often made mental pictures of herself living in the house. In the course of time, the man died and she moved into the house. Several years afterwards, coming into the knowledge of spiritual law, she said to me, "Do you think I had anything to do with that man's death?" I replied, "Yes. Your desire was so strong, everything made way for it, but you paid your karmic debt. Your husband, whom you loved devotedly, died soon after, and the house was a white elephant on your hands for years." The original owner, however, could not have been affected by her thoughts had he been positive in the truth, nor her husband, but they were both under karmic law. The woman, feeling the great desire for the house, should have said, "Infinite intelligence, give me the right house, equally as charming as this, the house which is mine by divine right." The divine selection would have given perfect satisfaction and brought good to all. The divine pattern is the only safe pattern to work by. Desire is a tremendous force and must be directed in the right channels, or chaos ensues. In demonstrating the most important step is the first step to ask aright. Man should always demand only that which is his by divine right. Man always gets just what he desires when he does relinquish personal will, thereby enabling infinite intelligence to work through him. Example, a woman came to me in great distress. Her daughter had determined to take a very hazardous trip, and the mother was filled with fear. She said she had used every argument, had pointed out the dangers to be encountered, and forbidden her to go, but the daughter became more and more rebellious and determined. I said to the mother, "You are forcing your personal will upon your daughter, which you have no right to do. Your fear of the trip is only attracting it, for man attracts what he fears." I added, "Let go and take your mental hands off it, put it in God's hands, and use this statement: I put this situation in the hands of infinite love and wisdom. If this trip is the divine plan, I bless it and no longer resist. But if it is not divinely planned, I give thanks that it is now dissolved and dissipated." A day or two after that, her daughter said to her, "Mother, I have given up the trip," and the situation returned to its native nothingness. Sowing and reaping come in the most curious way. A woman came to me saying she had received a counterfeit $20 bill given to her at the bank. She was much disturbed, for she said, "The people at the bank will never acknowledge their mistake." I replied, "Let us analyze the situation and find out why you attracted it." She thought a few moments and exclaimed, "I know it. I sent a friend a lot of stage money just for a joke. So the law had sent her some stage money, for it doesn't know anything about jokes." I said, "Now, we will call on the law for forgiveness and neutralize the situation. Christianity is founded upon the law of forgiveness. Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the karmic law, and the Christ within each man is his redeemer and salvation from all inharmonious conditions." So I said, "Infinite Spirit, we call on the law of forgiveness and give thanks that she is under grace and not under law and cannot lose this $20, which is hers by divine right. Now," I said, "go back to the bank and tell them fearlessly that it was given you there by mistake." She obeyed, and to her surprise, they apologized and gave her another bill, treating her most courteously. So knowledge of the law gives man power to rub out his mistakes. Man cannot force the external to be what he is not. And with that being said, thank you for watching this video. I truly do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I trust you'll give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more content just like this one. So how did you like today's video? And what video would you like to see next? You let me know in the comment section down below. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Toodles. And if you're asleep, good night.